Ted, as far as the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework is concerned, this is very much a work in progress. This is not a fully formed trade pact by any stretch of the imagination. It's not an FTA. What is it then?
I think that there's a desire to see some economic meat on the bone with this agreement. But that said, as you just alluded to, it is a framework for making that possible. They came out, they established this framework, and what the United States has proven it is still very good at, even in a situation where China has a bigger trade relationship with almost every single one of these countries than the United States does, is that they're very good at building consensus. This is 40% of global GDP. That's nothing to sneeze at. You'd rather be in this club than outside of this club.
Let me push back on that a little bit, Ted, because if you're Indonesia, if you're Vietnam, if you're Philippines, there's nothing in IPEF about market access to the United States for their goods and services. There's nothing in here about freer trade. There's nothing in here at this point in time about open trade and tariffs and barriers coming down. Will there be, ultimately?
Yeah, you're 100% right. There is not. And that's a big deal, especially if you're Indonesia, especially if you're Vietnam, who are both party to this agreement. I think that what they're thinking is, as you said, that down the road, that this is a club you want to be in, and maybe it will occur. Maybe it will occur when it's more politically palatable within the United States,
right,
which is entirely possible, down the line for a trade negotiation.
Do you feel that trade agreements, whether they are in the Indo-Pacific or elsewhere, are a hard sell politically?
Yeah, yes, they are. Yeah, I mean, both on the left and the right in the United States, both of especially the extremes of the left and the right, they both have a problem with free trade. They both have a problem with free trade agreements. It's the center, but the center is not very vocal. The center doesn't make as much noise when Americans are holding elections. So yeah, I mean, what Biden's trying to do right now is he's trying to thread the needle between establishing an American, firm foothold in Asia and showing, yeah, we're here to play, against the pressure back home, which is, that he's only allowed to do so much.
Right.
Down the line, it might change.
And there's a lot of wood to chop, of course, for Biden and the administration about re-engaging after the hiatus from the Trump era. It's really interesting, Ted, because many commentators that we've interviewed while we were here have said that perhaps President Biden made the most progress and had the most substantive conversations in South Korea with Hyundai and with Samsung about getting them to commit FDI into the United States. It's unclear as to whether it's going to be two-way, whether there's going to be investment in South Korea, or whether it's going to be reshoring, to Biden's point in the State of the Union about reshoring and building enterprise and building business back at home. Do you think IPEF from that perspective was just an add-on?
That's a great question. I mean, undoubtedly, the conversation with South Korea had dollars and cents attached to it, right?
Yes.
You're talking about infrastructure, you're talking about FDI, you're talking about money changing hands, and that's what commerce is, right? That's how you put, like we were just saying, meat on the bone. I think that the folks the countries, the 12 countries that have, plus US, that have joined IPEF have decided among themselves that we want to be able to have that door open for us. And also it's going to grow too.
Yes.
There's some noise in Canada right now where the Canadians are saying, why were we not included in this? Why were we not brought in? You can bet that, I'd be willing to bet that they're going to come in too. So it's going to get bigger.